Welcome to Accountancy Ireland's August 2010 Vodcast. This month, Aileen Hallahan from Hudson answers questions about CVs and interview techniques.
I would say yes. Most employers would see that as being a very proactive thing to do. So a lot of companies are not necessarily advertising that they're looking, but they would always consider a good candidate if a CV came into them. So yes, I would say it is a good idea to spec a CV to a client. However, we've found in our research that there are mixed views from the client in terms of following up on your CV. So you need to be careful around that. Some clients find it a little bit of an intrusion or an imposition to be regularly checking up on your application. Therefore, it's quite good to apply to jobs that you know are absolutely live and open and available, but yes, it's also a good idea and a very proactive thing to do in the current climate to spec a CV to a client as well. This is a question most people have when they're writing a CV. How long should it be? It can be very difficult for people sometimes to condense their CVs downwards, but you do need to keep it quite brief. And the general consensus, certainly in terms of the survey we've conducted, is that 2 pages is very good. So about 50% of the recipients of our survey said that they felt 2 pages was adequate. However, 38% felt that 3 pages was in fact the ideal number of pages for a CV. So if your CV is very detailed and you do need to spill out onto a 3rd page, I would absolutely advise to do that rather than try to cram everything into a 2-page document and make it look very crammed with tiny font that's very, very difficult to read. So 2 to 3 pages is the general consensus of a CV. So depending on the format of your CV, logos can add a lot of bulk in terms of the size of the attachment. So most applications nowadays are made by email and online. So it's not a good idea really to attach ex-employers' logos onto your CV. It'll be obvious to your employer, to your interviewer, to the company you're applying to, who those companies are. You don't need to also give a logo or a visual as to who those companies are as well. Spelling and grammar are obviously critical to get right on your CV. It's a big black mark against you if the spelling or grammar in your CV isn't up to scratch. So employers nowadays are actually looking for reasons to eliminate the number of CVs they're getting. They're being inundated by applications all day long. So they might very well be taking spelling and grammar as one of their deciding factors as to who to put into the no pile straight away. So really, really important to get right. Very, very simple thing to get right. Make sure you do a spell check. Make sure you get somebody to read over your CV when it's finished, just to have, to be completely confident that it reads well and that there are no glaring errors there. That's a big letdown that you don't need at this point. Both are options. However, in the internet age that we're in and have been for quite a while now, most employers receive online applications, and it's much easier for them because they may be forwarding on that application to somebody else. So having a soft copy can be much more convenient for your employer. You could do both potentially as well, but I think everybody nowadays finds it more convenient to receive a CV by soft copy or by email. A competency-based interview will be made up by the company in terms of their own key competencies that they want to see within their organisation. Okay, that might be leadership, it might be flexibility towards work, it might be motivating staff. It's just key attributes of the person as opposed to the skill set of the person. So they will know the key competencies that they're looking for when they interview a person, and most employers we have found prefer that type of interview as well. So you're looking to see that the person is going to fit both the job but the organisation as well in terms of their key personality traits. If you're working through a recruitment agency, you'll probably be aware of the salary already, having had that conversation with the recruiter. So you would have had that conversation because you yourself want to assess, do I want to apply for this job? Is it relevant to me based on my current salary level? However, if you're applying directly to a company, the opinion of employers is mixed. Most don't mind where it's brought up, but it's probably better to bring it up maybe after the first stage of interview. The first interview really for the employers to assess, are they interested in you? Will they be bringing you forward to potentially a second screening level, which would be a second stage interview? Certainly it would be relevant to bring it up at a second stage because both parties are clearly engaged at that stage. There's an obvious interest in you as a potential employee at that stage. So yes, it's very important to bring it up at that time, I think. And again, most employers don't have a leaning towards, first or second, but it does need to be brought up at some point if you're interviewing, absolutely. Most employers do like to commence any interview with some chit chat to ease the person into the interview process. And we have found in our research that most interviewers like to make their interviewee at ease, and they like to start a conversation that way because they also want to find out about the person themselves and their fit within the organisation. And most employers actually admit that they're never ever actually trying to catch anybody out at interview these days. So that hard-nosed interview day is gone by the wayside, really. I've seen CVs where the person is given information on all of their children in terms of age, weight, height, etc. You might think that's relevant, but not really to a potential employer, potentially. According to our survey, we have, in talking to the companies that we surveyed, have found very unusual things. Tea bags attached to CVs so that the person reading the CV can have a cup of tea whilst they're reading it. Drawings of airplanes to show what a high flyer that person might be. So, yeah, you would be surprised, or maybe not, every day to see what does turn up on a CV.
That was Aileen Hallahan, Country Manager with Hudson. Thank you for watching our Accountancy Ireland August 2010 Vodcast, produced by digitalaudioproductions.com. For more vodcasts and podcasts, see our website www.accountancyireland.ie.